Hello, good game. Welcome back, ghouls and goblins. I hope you're all having a magical day as always. And thank you so much for taking the time to support the channel. Today we have a very special article to go through, the State of Design 2021. This is an article that only comes out once a year by the big boss himself, Mark Rosewater, reviewing everything that they did, highlights what was successful, what wasn't successful, right? The lessons they learned from it, and a little bit about how they plan to progress in the future, which is really cool. So, we're just going to skip over the highlights. And of course, if you want to go through the article yourself, I will have the link in the description below. Let's go. Alrighty. State of Design 2021 by Mark Rosewater. Just talking about he became the head designer in 2003. Then he waited for his first full year to start this series, in which he has been doing ever since, right? Talking about the highlights and the lessons, the pros and cons from the previous year. And you can go through this, right? It started in 2005 and we're in 2021. So this is really cool that it's a reoccurring thing that we get every single year in late August or mid-August, I should say, to wrap up the Magic year, I guess. Overall, Magic design highlights, a lot of Magic was purchased and played. So they talked about foreshadowing or forecasting, I should say, slower years or slower time for the year ahead because of the pandemic, right? COVID was hitting and they're like, okay, most of our Magic is played in person. This is going to be really bad for us. But I guess they broke records for the 28-year history. They sold more than ever. And of course, that means more Magic was played than ever as well, which is absolutely amazing. So congratulations, everybody, for a thriving community. A very strong year for design resonance, which is pretty cool. So just like everything really fit together well. And, it was done so very smoothly, right? Like we had the adventure world, the Norse mythology, the Magic, Forgotten Realms. They were each different and had their own sweet spots. The set boosters were a hit, so set boosters were a new release, and I guess they did very good job selling them. And it's just talking about how they're going to continue to predict their audience demand for new products, right? Or different products, I should say, right? Because it was something that they've not done in all of Magic's life. And it actually worked out really, really well, which is pretty cool. So, bringing new players to the game to play in different ways. Lessons, right? What did they learn from the year? We need to get better at extending our mechanical themes between sets. So a big complaint they had is that the mechanics would be completely dead the next set, right? Landfall doesn't receive support in the next set. Party is one of those things that kind of receives a little bit of support, but not really. There's no keyword party anymore. You'll just get those clerics, rogues, and stuff. And this goes through Magic for a very long time, right? Especially within standard. I get that. And they're actually trying to do a bit better of a job of it, which is interesting. So I'd like to see how that plays out in the future personally, because I like all the different mechanics. I don't need new mutate cards in every set. I think that would be a little weird. Maybe they could sprinkle one or two in, you know what I mean, but not to focus on it. So I'm really interested to see how that plays out. And I think they tried to get around that with the module faced cards, right? So you can have cards that are now playable in other sets throughout the season. Module double face cards, MDFCs, didn't give the years of cohesiveness that he was hoping for, right? So I think they really thought it was going to tie everything together, but it didn't do the job they wanted. And then they're talking about how they can run them in every set that is not someone else's property. Example, the Dungeons and Dragons set, right? So every set organic to Magic, they can do the module face cards in, but they can't do those within the sets that do not belong to them, which is weird because D&D kind of also does belong to them in a way, but I get it. Throne of Eldraine being so strong, it didn't let the other sets shine. 10 out of 10, right? Nailed it. And they weren't sure if they should list this as a lesson, which I find a little awkward because, it's blatantly obvious to anybody who's been playing Magic for the last year. It's like the Great Henge and Embercleave are absolutely amazing. Brazen Borrower, Lovestruck Beast, adventure in general, we had to ban Lucky Clover because that was redonkulous. Eldraine was crazy, man. Eldraine was off the hook, right? So it was too strong. It didn't let the other sets really shine through because, you know, you just play those cards that I listed, right? So that's the year in review, kind of overviewing everything. And now we're going to break down the sets one by one. So Zendikar Rising, highlights, MDFCs with lands on the back were very popular. Great for fixing your mana base, you know, not flooding late game, because now you get a little bit of interaction through those lands as well, which is nice. Players enjoyed Landfall's return. Oh man, Landfall was busted. Omnath with the set release before it got banned. Stop it. And of course, there's Fabled Passage, Evolving Wild. So Landfall was in a really, really nice spot for a while there. Snap-on equipments was popular, of course. You know, what better way to use equipments and make them more playable? Because typically, equipment and aura spells are hard to get really good value from unless your deck's solely focused around it. But, you know, we've seen just how powerful something like Maul of the Skyclaves was because it auto-equipped, right? Very, very good stuff. You enjoyed Party's general design space and liked it in Limited. I personally liked it in Constructed as well. I made a ton of Party decks. Obviously not the most competitive decks. However, today we do see the Bant Party deck tearing it up in Mythic. So, I don't know. It's still really good, I think. And could have been better, though. I get it. I get it. Lessons, Party didn't live up to its potential in Constructed. Kind of just what we mentioned there. The set didn't bring back things that they wanted brought back, I guess. I mean, they've been there. This was their 6th time, I guess. So it's impossible to bring everything back, right? I mean, I guess it's not. They could really sprinkle everything together, but they might lose the feel of that new set that they're trying to bring, right? Because you want each one to be individual and unique from a creative standpoint, at least in my opinion. And then, of course, the third visit didn't feel like they added anything new. The third visit and the 6th set to take place there. So yeah, still the 6th time they're there. But then the third visit, I don't know. Anyways, so it didn't feel like you got anything new. Again, you know, the environment is pretty flushed out of the world as far as, you know, that goes. And I get it. They're just trying to, you know, shine a light of the same space, but like into the future. Maybe we'll go back again and it'll be crazy. So Commander Legends, you know, this is actually, you know, not really relevant to many of my audience. EDH boys, let's get a woof in the comments. Highlights, players liked the new limited format. Players loved throwbacks to the old Magic lore. Players enjoyed the cool Commander designs, and players liked the reprints. You know, nothing groundbreaking there. Lessons, there are many suggestions how to improve the draft format, which is really cool. And they talk about actually, you know, potentially splitting up the constructed commander from the commander draft, which could be really cool in the future, right? There are some wrapped constructed commanders, warped constructed commanders. I guess there's like not good. A feedback of types of cards should be that shouldn't be created. Then we make more legendary creatures. I know the design team that works on the commander products takes all this feedback. Yeah, I don't really, you know, some cards warped constructed commander. I get it. Like, you know, certain things are better and they make other stuff unplayable. Is, you know, that's kind of what they're trying to. While the set had many innovative and fun designs, there were few that made players feel it was a net negative to constructed commander, right? Like, so that means some stand out more than others, and then they get focused on, and it's kind of, you know, it's the Eldraine effect, we can call it, in my opinion, right? Anyways, you can always fix that in the future, and that's what this is all about. So some cards could have been white. Okay, so, you know, the Council of Colors, you know, spending a lot of time with this, and they're talking about, you know, how white is underpowered and it needs a boost within Commander, right? So that's something to look forward to. Kaldheim, actually something very interesting here. Players mostly enjoyed the mechanics. I had fun with it. You know, there's some really, really, really good cards in Kaldheim. Foretell was a lot of fun, and I think that's something that's playable in all of the sets. You don't have to build a deck solely around it like you would Landfall. Players liked the God MDFCs, absolutely. You know, just the MDFCs in general are really, really cool in my opinion. So loving those, whether they're lands or creatures, even instants and sorceries, like, well, I know that was in Zendikar, but Spikefield Hazard is a great one. Players love the flavor of the world, right? You know, it's pretty cool. I didn't mind it. I thought it was nice. Each world I find to be all right. You know, if you go into the lore, even just through the art, is generally a pretty good time. And that's why we all play Magic, right? Well, you know, it's a part of it anyways. The set felt too cramped and should have been 2 sets. I don't really think it felt too cramped. There was a lot there. There's a lot of really good cards there. I don't mind it at all. I think that it's, you know, Alrund's Epiphany is absolutely amazing, right? It's just such a banger. And, you know, I think even Goldspan Dragon was from Kaldheim, wasn't it? Anyway, there's like some good cards here. Or Goldspan was Strixhaven. Yes. Maybe. Anyways, Alrund's Epiphany is definitely from Kaldheim. Kaya's there. She's nice. She's not as good as obviously Alrund's Epiphany, but I don't know if it was too cramped. I get that maybe it could have been flushed out more. Moving on, anyways, just getting held up on things I don't fully understand. There should have been more anti-snow permanent cards, or just in general. Redain was a permanent that was anti-snow, which was really nice. I guess there definitely could have been more, but then at a certain point, if there were too many, you know, all of snow mechanic is just nullified, right? Because even look at Redain, shuts down snow decks in a hizzery. So, you know, like, I don't know if adding more anti-snow cards would have been a good thing, or it just would have made snow non-playable. Maybe something about destroying a snowland. Just an anti-haven card could have been cool, because we've seen that in all of the decks. And that, you know, I get it. Maybe I'll get behind that. If we stay too close to Norse mythology, I thought that was the idea. I guess they want to put their own spin on it, but at the same time, you know, I read a lot of the lore of this set, and I had a good time with it. You know what I mean? So, you know, I guess these are kind of opinions, and this article is written based on the community's opinions that Mark receives, right? So, I guess people are talking about it. I might not feel that way, but apparently lots of people do. Strixhaven School of Mages. I had fun with this set personally. Highlights: players love the Mystical Archive. I'm still collecting those cards. Heyo, the quest to a full, complete set in Arena will never. It'll never end. As soon as I get close, they just add a whole bunch more cards, right? Players enjoyed having Spells Matter set. Yeah, there's a lot of good spells here. Magma Opus is just like absolutely insane as far as I'm concerned. There's a lot more spells than that, but it's definitely my favorite. Similar power level to Alrund's Epiphany. Instant speed, just like, oh my gosh. Players like the lighter tone and the top-down designs. Sure, whatever that means, I'm just going to skip right over that. Players appreciated us trying something different with a faction set, right? So, you know, instead of Simic, it was Quandrix, stuff like this, Boros to Lorehold. Lessons: some players wanted schools to be different than their guild equivalents, just like Simic is Quandrix. They could have done new combinations that we've not had before, potentially. No, I think we do have them all, though, don't we? We have all of the guilds. So I don't know if there would be any new color combinations. They would... Unless... No, like, you just can't do it because we already have all of our pie wheel, like, named. Even to 4 colors. Like, right, we've got Lore and Witch, stuff like this, you know, 3 colors. Jeskai, Grixis, Esper, you know what I mean? It's already all named perfectly. So I don't know how it would be different than their guild equivalents. But, right? Because there's every color combination already represented. So that's a little confusing to me. MDFCs had too much going on. The Deans, right? There were a lot of MDFCs in Strixhaven. There were a ton of them, and not all of them were good. But that's good for limited, right? The set treated American schools too much as the norm. I do not care about that at all. I mean, I don't know what school's like internationally, but the product's made in America, so I get it. And it says they tried to model it off British schools because the magical school trope in its origin in British schooling. But nonetheless, complaints have been heard. everyone. And then Modern Horizons 2 highlights players love the flavor and mechanical callbacks. Players like seeing old mechanics get new cards. So it's not just reprints. And players enjoyed the lighter tone, you know, taking a step back, I guess, similar to Strixhaven. Players appreciated having higher complexity, right? You know, how those synergies can interweave together. Lessons, there's too much going on. Well, you don't get the complexity without a lot going on. So it's a give and take, of course, right? And for every opinion, you will have the mirrored voice as well. It's just how it works. Some players worried about the impact on the modern format. I get it, right? You're adding new stuff. It's like, what's going to go on here? Too much stuff for Commander and also not enough stuff for Commander, right? Kind of just like I mentioned there, you're going to get the opposite feedback always, sometimes a little bit. Dungeons and Dragons Adventure in the Forgotten Realms. Highlights. Players enjoyed the execution of adapting Dungeons and Dragons to Magic cards. I can get behind it, right? I had a good time. Players liked the use of flavored words, Universe Beyond, stuff like this. And then, of course, we added some cool things to White, which is great. You know, they don't want to say what the cool new White things are. I guess we got some things like the Fiddlebender and, you know, whatever. There's going to be more coming, they say, right? So they're going to try to power up White for Commander, and even just maybe in general in the future, even though my Milky Smooth deck is running just that Milky Smooth. Lessons, the set created very polar responses. I think that's a good thing. Some players wanted to see flavorful returning mechanics. That's fine. Mixing flavor words and ability words was confusing. Example, pack tactics as an ability word, right? A look back, right? So, you know, they said they tried a lot of things and most of them were met with success. However, your feedback is always, you know, interpreted into future decisions or incorporated, I guess. You know, if you want to share your thoughts on the set, they're equal also to hear your thoughts on his thoughts. If you want to email and reach out, definitely do that. And by doing that, you know, it's just going to increase, you know, the likability of the environment in which we, you know, engage in, because it's our thoughts and opinions that matter for the most part. And, you know, they're collectively listening to all of us. So, you know, definitely voice your opinion as well. What did you like? What didn't you like? What would you like to see in the future? This kind of stuff. Send Mark an email, right? Tell him HGG sent you. But not you though, Todd. You're not allowed to send anybody an email. With that out of the way, guys, you know, what did you think personally about the year of Magic that we just had? Have you been here for a full year? Were you here last year as well, right? When did you pick up this article, right? Do you read this every year? Is this your first time ever seeing it? Let me know all the goodies, the deets down in the comments below. And of course, support the video by leaving it a like. It's a great free way to support the channel. And of course, you know, other than that, have yourselves a magical day, and we'll see you soon in the next.